Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Welcome back to I Want That Too, the podcast where Disney merch meets Disney history. I'm entertainment writer Jim Hill, and as always, I'm joined by the lovely Lauren Hersey, who has been on the road, right?
I have been on the road, and you just got back from being on the road a little bit, right?
Oh, nothing like what you just went through. Folks, listen to this. What is it? You went to 9 parks. You stayed at 5 hotels. You saw a brand new nighttime parade, checked out 2 brand new shows, and in your off hours, you chased down a ton of merchandise in all those parks, right?
Yes, I was. Do you ever hear that song? Work, 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 worky, worky. I thought that's what we were doing. That was, I think, a record-breaking trip to Florida. I think it was like, I don't know, 10 or 11 days or something like that. And by far, the most hotels and parks we have ever visited in one trip.
Oh, well, I cannot wait to hear about this, especially Miles's find. What, you got in Daytona Beach, is that right?
Yes. So, was it our last episode or 2 episodes ago? We were talking about the world of Labubus. And the funniest thing was my daughter was like, oh, they're hideous. They're scary. Got the creepy teeth. I don't want anything to do with them.
And by the way, Lainey and I are on the exact same page. Please continue with your story.
Your fate just may change. I don't know. Because by the time we got to Daytona Beach, which was the first stop on our trip, we were, going to the beach shops and stuff at night. And I mean, they were full blown on the Labubu train. And Miles got a Labubu. It's purple and kind of creepy teeth. I don't know. This one plays music. I don't know if it's a Labubu or a Lafufu, but pretty adorable. And then by the end of the evening, Lainey had her first visit to Hooters, by the way. I'm that type of mother. She was like, can we get, I'm like, okay, so family affair. But that was the biggest regret of Lainey's trip was that she did not buy a Labubu. So now she's trying to do some, black market deal with Miles to try to get him to share.
Wow. Okay. Well, and this is just a small taste of the drama on today's show, folks. So now, speaking of which, before we get to the rest of the trip and all the cool stuff that the Hersey family did, let's acknowledge our sponsors here. And this episode of I Want That Too is brought to you by our friends at UnlockMagic.com. By the way, same trusted team behind DVC Rental Store and DVC Resale Market. If you're, like Lauren, headed to Walt Disney World or Universal Orlando, Unlock Magic can help you save up to 12% on theme park tickets. No strings, no stress. They've already helped families save over $10 million, and now it's your turn. Whether you're planning that once-in-a-lifetime family vacation or sneaking off for a quick weekend getaway, visit UnlockMagic.com to stretch your budget a little further and make your next trip a whole lot more magical. Okay, so we return to again. We make our stop in Daytona. We get our Labubu. All right, and from there, you guys continue on to the Walt Disney World Resort, where stop number 1 is the All-Star Movies. Is that correct?
Yes. So I would chalk this up as a total win. We only stayed at the All-Star Movies for one night. And I feel like I learned a lot that I would want to share. So first and foremost, before you buy a water park ticket, I would encourage you to look at a resort like the All-Stars, because right now the cost is $74 per person and $68 per kid. So for us as a family of 4 in the room at the All-Stars for one night, it would have been $290 to go to the water park, and it was about $130 a night there. So even if you would just buy the room and not go and stay, that's $160 savings, which is pretty wild, right?
Yeah. Wow. And now, isn't this the thing that they just announced last year? As it, to the effect of if you book, you can get into the water park. What, the morning or the day of arrival?
Yes. And I'm sorry, I guess I should have prefaced it by saying that the day of arrival, you get into the water park for free. It's only for people that are on your room reservation. So we had 2 rooms. Couple quick tips. You do not have to check in to your hotel first. You can go straight to the water park. They opened up at 10, and I believe they're open 10 to 8. I thought that was really important to note. The other thing that was really, really cool, and this has not happened for a long time, is both water parks were open, Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon. And with this perk, you can do water park hopping. So we actually visited Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon in the same day.
Wow. I don't think I've ever done that in my life.
Another thing to note is I would highly, highly recommend getting there early if possible. Because the lines did get crazy in the afternoon. And so that was at the point where we had kind of done everything and the waits were very long. And so we took advantage of some of the Cool Kids Summer promotions, which I was mildly familiar with. I think that they were really trying to get people to stay on property so they didn't go to Epic. And so they were like, let's just throw some stuff up against the wall and see what sticks. But for this one, they had, the free celebration buttons. If you go to the park or you check into a resort, they'll say a first visit or celebrating a birthday or whatever. Well, they had all of those, and they had tattoos. So they were really cute. They had Goofy meeting and some, different games and stuff at the water park. So then we did that, and then we went to Typhoon Lagoon, and that was a good time, except for Lainey almost passed out with heat stroke. So make sure you're drinking a lot of water, because it was so hot. So hot down there.
Okay. And you had all of your gear separated from your suitcases and stuff, so you could just grab and go, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we were smart. We couldn't find Lainey's water socks on the way down, and so we made a stop and got some, and thank goodness we did, because this is a merch show, and if you are going to buy merch there, you are going to pay Disney prices. I'm talking like $20 for sunblock. Eric's eyes were hurting, so we had to get some sunglasses, like $25, $30. Water shoes, $25, $30. So just make sure that you're taking your stuff with you, with the exception of towels. They're free.
Okay, there we go. Well, no, that sounds like a fun start to the trip. So when did you finally get to your first really for real theme park?
So actually, that night after we went to the water parks, because we're crazy, Eric, the kids, and I decided to go over to Magic Kingdom, which would have been Saturday night. And we go to the tap styles to we have annual passes to tap in. And the girl was like, do you have a park reservation? It was almost 9:00 on a Saturday night. No, I don't have a park reservation. And she's like, you need one to get into the park. And I thought that was odd, but I was like, can I just make one right now. And so I did. And we got in and walked in, like saw everybody lined up. So it was a really special treat that they were doing the Disney Starlight Parade preview. And so we got to, we really didn't know what to expect. So I found a cast member and I'm like, okay, well, like, what's the parade route? Like, what is going on? And it actually runs in reverse to the Festival of Fantasy Parade. So it starts on Main Street and ends in Frontierland. So because that wasn't broadly known and it was a preview, we kind of headed down that way because people were already lined up. And I do think it was less crowded. And we actually got to sit on, like, you know, they have those raised edges, like platforms off to like the left-hand side facing like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and got a good place to watch it the first time around. That day that we watched the parade, they were selling those Mickey light up wands I was telling you about with the hands. They had little carts and stuff that they were wheeling around, but not a ton of merch that time around. But we did see that parade 3 times.
Oh, okay.
In our during our stay. Yeah, and they did do, you know, while we were there, they had a ban kind of on annual passes. So if you had a pass, you had to have a park reservation for that day to get in the parks. And as of today, we're recording this on the 29th. That was just lifted today. So you can go back to your normal park hopping. But we did get to experience it, I think maybe 3 or 4 times.
Okay. And what did we think?
Well, I think that the Blue Fairy, she's still the show. But to be honest, just setting expectations here, it is a short parade. I think that, and I think you watched the preview of the parade online. But we clocked it at 15 minutes, and the Festival of Fantasy is about double the length, just to give people expectations. Is that kind of what you felt? I know you said you felt like it was a little sparse.
I did. Now, mind you, Len had pretty high praise for this. And by the way, to sort of touch base on your note about it running in a different direction than the daytime parade, you know, not starting in Frontierland and ending on Main Street. And evidently, the reason they do that is, and in fact, this perhaps explains why the crowds were so sparse in Frontierland, by going the other way and being as short as it is. Everyone who's on Main Street follows the parade up to the hub and then finds places to watch the fireworks show, which, you know, I want to say starts at 10. So, and so the beauty part of that is nobody goes deeper into the park. So if you're back in Frontierland, or Liberty Square or thereabouts to watch this thing, you have not semi-private, but certainly less crowded than it is down on Main Street. But yeah, you're not wrong. I have not seen this in person, but I've watched a bunch of videos of it, and it does seem to be, kind of on the sparse side.
And I think that the street performers left a lot to be desired. First of all, I have to say, it's a nighttime parade, and I loved it. So it sounds like I'm being critical. I loved the music. I loved all of that. So I'm just telling you the things that stuck out to me. The street performers, very, very lacking, in my opinion. We had ballroom dancers for the Cocoa Float, which was odd to me. And it seemed like they were really trying to conserve the amount of, characters that they had to, or people that they had to pay to be in this thing. Like, you got Elsa with no Anna, you had Moana with no Maui. It was something else. I was very surprised to see a Wish float. Maybe that was in the works before they knew how that movie was going to go. But the best news was that they have a shirt for this parade. It is extremely, extremely soft and comfortable. So highly recommend you get that. Oh, and I have to say that by the second day that we saw the parade, Whimsy's face was not working.
Okay, well, that's kind of...
Which was kind of sad. Wah, wah.
This is the thing, the early days with the parade. In fact, we were... Len and I were hearing in regard to the tech rehearsals, just be glad that the floats were lit up by the time they made it back to Frontierland, because evidently very early on during the tech rehearsals, the batteries on the floats would fade. And so it's like, at least you got to see them lit up at that point. So, all right. Well, folks, tell you what, this is all the stuff that happened on stage as part of Lauren and Eric's trip to Walt Disney World. When we get back from this commercial break, Ms. Hersey's going to take you backstage to Property Control and tell you about what she saw there. But first, this.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
9 años pidiendo el snack wrap. Aquí tienes tu snack wrap. ¿Tú quieres un snack wrap? Toma tu snack wrap. ¿Tú también? Toma un snack wrap. Snack wrap, snack wrap, snack wrap. Volvió el snack wrap. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Okay, we're back, and Lauren is now going to continue her story of the Hersey family vacation to Walt Disney World. And now this is Sunday trip?
Yep, so this is Sunday, and this will be hotel number 4
okay.
For us. This time we were at Saratoga.
Okay.
And we were able to meet our listener, Nate, and we got to go to Property Control again, which is, we talked about it, a few shows ago, but this is an exclusive Disney cast member store for overstock, discontinued, or maybe like a slightly, damaged merchandise, but really, really great deals. So I just have to stress, this is a cast. You have to have a cast member with you to go to the store, because while we were there, I think the police had to escort somebody out, and I was hoping that they were not a listener of
oh dear.
what that too.
Okay.
Yes. But so this time around was a little bit different. We arrived later, and you could tell things were a little bit picked over. There's these big black bins when you walk in, and they're called Mickey's Treasures, and they're like severely discounted. I did find like an Olaf hat for Miles, but the big wins for this trip, in addition to obviously seeing, all of the artifacts from the parks, and they really do take care of their employees. You could buy like 10-pound bag of chicken tenders, or, muffins or Uncrustables, like that kind of stuff. But for us, they had some pretty bougie items, pretty inexpensive. So Lainey was the big winner. They had Lily Pulitzer, which you'll see that line in the deluxe resorts. She got a backpack for $50. It's normally $150.
Woof.
Great deal on a Walt Disney World zip up, like like embroidered. They're normally $90. Got, 2 pairs of Crocs. So we did get some really, really good deals. And Nate and I were conspiring, and we have a package for you that we're sending from Property Control, and it's gonna blow your mind, Jim. Maybe you could talk about it on the next show.
Okay. All right. As long as it's not ticking. All right. Now, but again, now this is your second trip to Property Control. So you're an experienced veteran at this point. Do we have some tips for the listeners?
Yes. If you ever get so lucky to be able to go, try to get there, like rope drop it, just like you would a park, like 9 a.m. to get, the best deals in the Mickey's Treasures. I think you can get like 5 at a time. They were, the stock turns over quickly there. So like if you see something, you have to grab it immediately, because if you walk back, most likely it's gone. And a lot of the higher end, severely discounted stuff goes really fast. So those are my quick tips for anybody that gets lucky enough to go.
Cool. Okay, so you get to Property Control, you get to shop there. Again, we did 9 parks in this trip. So we have our 2 water parks, we have the Magic Kingdom. Where did we go next?
Okay, so Hollywood Studios, real quick, I have to point out, last show, maybe, or 2 shows ago, we were talking about the farewell shirts for Dinosaur and Animal Kingdom and how people were frustrated because there was nothing really from the Muppets. But I sent you a picture while I was down there. They did have a line. It's Sam Eagle, right? Of America cups, tumblers, mugs with a line from Muppet Vision 3D.
Yeah, but mostly America.
Yes,
and it's a really handsome looking cub. All right, cool.
Yeah, so it wasn't a T-shirt, but it was something.
Okay. And anything else you found in that park that was unusual, or?
Well, I did send you another picture of the Eiffel Tower tumbler. I couldn't understand unless it was just a nostalgia thing. Like, what do you think was going on with that? I've never seen Eiffel Tower merch before.
Well, the studio is in a very interesting time right now. In fact, while you were away, the news broke about the Magic of Disney animation redo, where, well, I know, in fact, you're going to talk in a moment about the Little Mermaid show right there. You exit into the animation courtyard there, but September 25th, that goes behind a construction wall, and that entire space, from the arch back, gets reimagined as, well, it's going to look a lot like the Roy E. Disney building out in Burbank. That's the home of feature animation West Coast. And so, it's kind of interesting at this time when the park is reimagining itself, we get this nod to the Eiffel Tower, but I'll take it. I still remember the Imaginator who worked on that. They literally talked about how they got the award that year for Water Tower of the Year. And they traveled to Tennessee for the award ceremony. And it was like, the award ceremony was basically a bunch of guys standing around picnic tables with Coors beer. It's like, here's your trophy. And that was the thing, the guys from Disney, the whole time they wear it, well, do we tell them it's not a real water tower? Will they still give us the trophy? And they figured, well, if this is all it is, Coors beer and picnic table, we're not telling them. We'll take the trophy home. So, but anyway, okay.
Did I see that the Sorcerer's hat's coming back?
Well, the interesting thing, over the entrance of the actual Roy E. Disney building out in California, there is in fact a sorcerer's hat. So it's kind of it's more of a nod to what's on the West Coast as opposed to bringing back the big hat that used to be in front of the Chinese theater. But yeah, I'm sure there are people who'll make that connection.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So, all right, you were talking about getting to see 2 new shows at the park?
Yeah. Not a ton to say about the Little Mermaid show. It was fun. I did think some of it was odd. I'm not sure what Len had to say about it, but it looked a little AI in the beginning. The animations were, to me, a little off, but just fine. But the sleeper hit was the villain show. We saw it, I think, 3 times.
Really?
It has some pretty catchy music. I think they hit a home run on the villain show. We tried to see it one more time on our last day, and they were sold out. Like every time we went, it was jam-packed. It was a really good show. And they had a literal ton of villains merch to go with this. So I don't know the laying the groundwork for the villains land that's going to come. But I mean, there was villain merch everywhere. And not to give any spoilers away from the show, but you could really get villain merch for most of the big names. We'll say that.
Okay. And again, not giving anything away from the show, but did you get to see all of the villains? I'm talking about the conclusion of the show.
Yeah, so it's a mix of animation, there's a lot of screen and human interaction, but there are 3 main villains in the show, and I mean, you're basically voting on who is the misunderstood of all, and it's different every time and dependent on the crowd participation. So it's interactive. It's a fun time. Good songs. Good story. I did see Madam Mim a couple times and thought of you.
Oh, well, there we go. And now, is the merch available in carts outside of the show? Or I know there's a couple of stores there on Sunset Boulevard. Is that where they had the merch?
Yeah, so there were several carts set up outside of Rock and Roller Coaster. There's a photo op there. And then I believe it's Carthay Circle, that shop, to the left when you're walking out. I would say maybe a quarter of that shop when you walk in the first door. It was all villains. They really leaned in hard to the villains.
Okay, well, all right. Okay, so that's your days at the studio, because you went back to see the show, try for a 4th time. But you were talking earlier about moving over to Saratoga Springs, and what was your time like at that DVC?
Yeah, it was great. I actually just wanted to make a quick point and I would love to do a show. If anybody cares to know about how much it actually costs to own DVC. I'm a DVC member, been a DVC member for a long time. And our sponsor of the show, World of DVC Rental Store, they're very, very knowledgeable. So if anybody is interested in hearing how much it actually costs to own a DVC, let me know, because that could be a really cool topic for the show. Sure. But while I was visiting the new lounge in Magic Kingdom, I saw that they were giving away this crossbody, this DVC member crossbody, and I was like, oh, how do I get one of these? And so they said to do this member check-in. I was a little nervous, because I haven't always had the best experience with the timeshare. Not Disney. I've had a wonderful experience. And so I was like, why not? Let's do it. We're already at Saratoga. And it was really, really cool to go into where they have the model rooms and everything. It was a 20-minute video about what's new at Disney. The properties that they're pushing right now are the Fort Wilderness cabins, the new cabins. Did not realize that they have the largest square footage. They sleep 6. And they're the lowest priced. So food for thought if you're ever thinking about DVC. But they're also talking about the Poly Tower and Riviera. So they had some pretty good incentives going on for those properties.
Oh, and you get a the cross body bag. Okay, no, that I will send Mr. Tester there. I'm sure.
Isn't it cute?
It is. It's cute, and more to the point, you're getting info about what they're building next. So, speaking of next, when we get back from this break, remember that they went to 9 parks, and among those parks were the Universal parks, and we're going to hear about the Hersey family's return to the Universal Orlando Resort. But first. This
episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtuo coffee machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your Virtuo pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Okay, so when did you stay at Saratoga and go over to Universal, or did you move over to Universal?
A little bit of both. So I think it was Wednesday. Eric was getting the itch to hit up Universal. So my time there, I'll talk about it kind of, as one. But we did do one day while we were at Saratoga, and then we did the last 2 days of our trip at Terra Luna, which is one of the new Epic Universe resorts, because we were going to Epic Universe as well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and loved Terra Luna. Terra Luna was a great resort, but it was far. It was very far from the regular Universal park. So we've talked about Dockside in the past, and how Dockside and Endless Summer, they're kind of, away from the theme parks and City Walk, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the Terra Luna, just to give you some context here, if you know where Endless Summer is, it is 10 more minutes away from the furthest resort. So it's about a 20-minute bus ride from the hotel to City Walk. But if you're going to Epic, our room actually had a view of Epic. The walking path was closed, but you could, technically walk to Epic from Terra Luna or Stella Nova.
Okay.
So highly recommend checking those out.
Okay. So, but again, this is a merch podcast. So what sort of merch finds did we discover during our time at Universal?
Yeah, so I did not realize, Jim, that this is Universal Studios' 35th anniversary. Is that right?
Well, yeah. The original park, so to speak, Universal Studios Florida, opened June of 1990, and they for once kind of leaned into that, merch wise. So what'd you find?
That was but from a marketing perspective, I really didn't feel like I heard very much about it. And I honestly was noticing it as we're leaving, but I'm going to show you, Jim. This was kind of the branding for the 35th anniversary, like the very retro neon lights, Jaws, Jurassic Park, E.T., King Kong, Back to the Future. There was a a literal ton of Jaws everything. And they had, different photo ops, and even the refillable mugs were Jaws. So leaned heavily into that. While we were there, I've not been to the Halloween Horror Nights, but you could visibly see that they were setting all of that up throughout the park. And then the shop across from like the tribute store by like the Jason Bourne like Stuntacular, that was all already Halloween Horror Nights merch. Oh, and I did forget to mention we were starting to see Disney Halloween merch as well. But the big points that I want to make is that if you are going to Universal and you love merch as much as I do, and you just happen to be a pass holder, before you pay full price for anything, make sure that you're checking out. They did have a pass holder store in the tribute store, Universal proper, and it's stuff that's in the regular store right now, and the discounts were crazy. Jim, we got Spider-Man Spirit jerseys for $2 each.
In fact, I remember the last time you guys went to Property Control at Disney. Lainey was stalking somebody in the store who was carrying a Spirit jersey that she was hoping they'd put down. So what a huge find. $2 for a Spirit jersey? Wow.
Yeah, they had a rack of 90% off. So we got a lot of stuff. My personal favorite was my Back to the Future bucket hat. But then over at Islands of Adventure, their big item was like everything Grinch. So I got some sleep pants and they had some cute shorts. And in that store, they did do a farewell Rip Ride Rocket t-shirt.
Yeah.
Because that's closing when?
I want to say August 18th. So we're...
Oh, August.
Anyway, we are in the window of time, so it's nice that they are actually doing some farewell merch there. But by the way, circling back to what you were saying about Halloween Horror Night, and how you have not experienced it yet. I don't know if you saw while you were away. They announced that Universal is collaborating with the WWE on a Halloween Horror Night house this time around.
What?
Yes, there's a rest.
No.
So I'm just warning you now, your husband will be going to this year. I mean, knowing what a wrestling fan Eric is, but yeah.
And Nancy with the cat, they have like a cat hotel.
Yeah. Well, tell you what, we'll send those two off, and you and I will, hang back at the pool.
There we go.
Well, anyway, all right. Continuing on with, let's be honest here. The thing I guess, and Eric's going to cover this on an Epic Universal podcast that we'll be recording later this week. But you guys were lucky enough to get into the pass holder preview for Epic Universe, and this now was your first time back at the park after it officially opened, and I'm dying to hear your impression.
Oh my gosh, Jim, it could not have been more different.
Really?
It really couldn't have. I will keep it brief because this is a merch show and I'm sure Eric will talk all about it. But we had an A+ experience during the AP preview. First, day there, we got to do everything. And we had very, very, very low expectations for the day at Epic. We really wanted to explore, and I wanted to do the hiccup coaster because I didn't get to do that. But really shows, Len spoke really highly of the show at the Harry Potter show, and my extremely low expectations didn't even get met. Like it was that rough of an experience.
Wow. Okay. Was this too many people in the park? Was this what happened?
Yeah, so I'll say the big thing. So we did get there early for early park access. We were told on the phone when I bought the tickets that like Terra Luna didn't, have access, but that was not the case. So we did go early and we were able to get into the portals. Now they're checking your hotel keys. So we went to Super Mario first because a lot of the portals were not open for early park access. So we were able to do Yoshi, which would have been like the people mover at Magic Kingdom. And then we did Mario Kart. And those were all, all fine. But by the time we finished those rides, it felt like the park was at capacity. It was a sellout, I have to say. It was a sellout day in the middle of the summer at a park that just opened. So take that for what it is. You've heard people talking about there's, no real shaded areas. It's very, very difficult to duck in and out of the heat. There's, in the portals, there's not a lot of, shopping areas. Disney, you can beat the heat. They don't have enough, smaller attractions with lower wait times. At one point during the day, Yoshi was over 100-minute wait. So if you were waiting in line for that, imagine waiting over 100 minutes for the people mover.
Oof. Okay. All right. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So it was really, really rough. Wanted to see the baby dragons. They're called night lights. And couldn't get a straight answer. Didn't get to experience them. But Hunter did get to eat the viral mac and cheese cones with the goldfish.
Oh.
So he was happy.
Okay. All right. Chalk up one win.
Yeah. So we had a win there.
Okay. Now, again, you got there pre-opening, and now we're several weeks past that. I have to ask, did you see any merch that mentioned that this is the opening year or that sort of thing?
Universal just does not do the thing when it comes to merch. I did see a new shirt, a gray shirt that had all the portals and it had grand opening on the sleeve. There was a photo op with a nice fold that did say grand opening, but very, very, very little grand opening merch. I also had to pop into the candy shop to check on the Captain Cacao Bears. We've talked about them. They're still out of stock. They only have the backpacks there. So if you're looking for that, not quite yet. And the girl said they've been waiting. So,
Okay.
But I mean, if you want any portal merch, and again, I said it on the last review, I do think that the power-up bands for the Super Nintendo Land are definitely worth the price and the interaction. It's a really fun time. So not to poo-poo on the merch, but nothing really new. And I do have to share, we did get a DM from a listener, actually our Labubu friend, and she's from California. She actually works at Walt Disney Animation, and she sent what is going to be the trend, I guess, for the fall for Epic, and it is women dressed as the Bride of Frankenstein, and they do have the most realistic Frankenstein head bag you will ever see. It is crazy. So I just hope that folks wait until it cools down before they go full-blown Bride of Frankenstein. But thanks for the DM.
Okay, and one little side story before we close up shop here. And again, I loved working with the folks at Universal on the media side for the past 20 some odd years. But one year when they invited me down for Halloween Horror Night, you mentioned the Frankenstein head bag. Literally a box showed up at the house that I opened up, and there amid the Excelsior was a severed head. Now, mind you, it was a plastic rubber cover thing, but the thing of it was, Lauren, if you reached into the wound in the head, there among the brain matter was the drive with all of the press releases and the photos from Halloween Horror Night. But you had to go digging inside of the head to find this item. And I'm just hoping with the Frankenstein handbag that you can leave out the brains. All right, don't put those in there. That's not a good idea.
I do have to say though, before we close up, Jim, with Epic, that Epic is an amazing theme park. And It is the first summer of the park being open, and every park has its growing pains. So I don't want to discourage people from visiting, because it is something you should truly see with your own eyes, just setting your expectations before you go. And it was a sellout day. So good on you, Epic, for selling out.
Okay. That's very fair of you to say that. But well, no, that was a great report on the family vacation, and lots of great merch news mixed in there.
Yes, and I think, on that note, that we'd close up shop for today, because I'm exhausted. I need a nap after 9 parks and 5 hotels.
Understood. Okay. Well, by the way, folks, if you want to keep up on everything that's happening across the Jim Hill Media Podcast Network, please follow us on social, and don't forget to check out Patreon for the bonus content and shows we're creating over there, plus early access.
Yes, and if you like today's episode, or you want to hear more about DVC, let us know. We love to hear from you. Leave us a quick review, and it helps more people find us as well.
And by the way, if you got a question or an idea for a future episode, shoot us a message. You can reach me at jim@jimhillmedia.com, and Lauren can be reached at lauren@laurenhersey.com.
Yes, and thanks for listening, everyone. That's it for today's show, and we'll see you next time on I Want That Too.